Hey, welcome everyone to Tanya Outside In, Perek Lamed Aleph. It's I think class three in Lamed Aleph. Just turn off all distracting things. Okay, we're at the bottom of page Mem. Last one on the first one line is Verzois, about five lines up. And the Rebbe is just kind of he wrote a like a speech, like an internal dialogue. Remember that what we're doing right now is the Benoni. We're talking about methods of how the Benoni can um, work it out. The problem that the Benoni, the not the problem, the pitfall that the Benoni must avoid, that he has a tendency to fall into, is called Timtum Alev, which we said is like a smugness, where he's identified with his level. Because, for all intents and purposes, this guy is unbelievable. Yeah, he never does an Avera even in thought, ever. He can't do an Avera. Not like the tzaddik who can't do an Avera because he actually can't do it. Like he'd be repulsed by it. But this guy can't do it because he doesn't allow himself, meaning that he literally can't do it. So this guy is really, he's a high level yid, yeah. And also remember that we're talking about experiences, but on the simple level, he's a very high level yid. So Perikov test says that there's a real danger that he might fall into the trap of defining himself and becoming smug, which is called Timtum Alev, Lev Ke'evan. Yeah, so then how do you break out of that? You basically tell yourself that you're not so great. You think you're a big tzaddik? Yeah, well, think about the dreams that you have. Think about all the Averis you've done as a kid. Think about, how little you exert yourself truthfully, when you really think about it, yeah? Real hard stuff, like real kind of smash the glass, break here in emergency kind of. This isn't our regular avoider bichalal. The Alter Rebbe has his hand around our shoulder, stroking our beard, telling us how gorgeous we are, like the whole time. Just this chapter, he's like, this is what you need to do. Yeah. And then Perek Lamed, he then says, and go weiter, think of yourself not only that you're mamash a schlepper yourself, but that comparatively, you're basically the biggest schlepper in the whole world. Yeah, you like basically look at you. If you got born with a golden spoon in your mouth, silver spoon. Yeah, you got born with a silver spoon in your mouth. Look at the place you were born into. Look at the time you were born into. Look at the family you were given. Look at the education you were given. Look at all the material wealth you were given. Yeah. And then, if you were in that guy's shoes, you would look much worse than him. Yeah, that's another level of kind of character assassination, yeah. And so Lamed Aleph is a hemshech from there. And he now starts to explain what you're actually doing, the mechanics of what you're doing. You're not getting depressed, you're getting bitter. That's what you're trying to do. You're trying to break your definition of yourself. You're trying to break that definition, and from there, you're going to rebuild yourself anew, and you're going to step out of this insane taiva to define yourself. Like, why are we trying to define ourselves? We're always trying to define ourselves and everyone else as well. And it's insanity. The question is, well, what can I do to help? That's the question, not who am I? What am I? What can I do to help? Now you have to ask yourself, well, what have I got? I've got a whole bunch of stuff, man. I've got this um, vibrant personality. I've got a bunch of money. I've got, a loving wife and a bunch of cool kids. I live in LA. I got this car. I got all this stuff. Yeah. Well, if I want to work out how I am to help, I need to know what I've got at my disposal. Because if you don't know what you've got, then you're not going to be able to help in the most effective way. So we need to know what we've got, but we don't need to ask the question, what am I? Who am I? And so at this point now, the Rebbe, we're kind of getting to the end of this whole kind of, it's like a rant in a sense. I'm saying that with a lot of covered, yeah. That now he's like finishing off by saying, all of this is true. This is all true. How low and terrible and rubbish I am. But that's just half the story. Because that's just the ani with an aleph. That's just the me. But I know that within me there is a chelek elokai b'mal. And the more me I am, the more ani I am with an aleph, the more ani I am, the greater the gullus of the nefesh halukis. And we're going to talk about that in a little bit as well, about how Rahmanas brings Ava. That's the next chapter, and then later on as well. And so now we're at that pivotal point where we've gone through heavy, this whole heavy kind of breaking down, and now we're going to start rebuilding up. Okay, so let's jump in. V'zois avodaso kol yomav b'simcha rabbah. And this is what your avodah is, all of your days. B'simcha rabbah. He's simchas ha-nefesh, but seis me'aguf is the simcha of the nefesh, talking about the neshama, the nefesh v'kis. But seis me'aguf is it comes out of the goof, ha-masuv, the filthy goof. Ushuba el beis avia, v'shava el beis avia, and it goes back to her father's house, Kenoreh, like as she was when she was young. B'shas ha-torah v'ha'avodah. When you're involved in Torah and Avodah, Lishma, then that's when you go back to the Rabbanu Shalom. U'kamar mazal liyois kol yoma b'tshuva. Ve'ein lecha simcha gedola. And there's no greater simcha, katseis me'agalos ve'shivya, when you go out from exile and from captivity. Kamoshel ben melech, like the prince, shahaya b'shivya, v'tochum b'beis ha'asur, and he's tochum. He's like entrenched in this in a prison. He's mamash stuck in a prison. A manuvel ba'ashper, and he's become disgusting in the ashper's like a trash heap, rubbish heap. V'yatzel l'chovshi al beis aviv hamelech, and he goes out free to his father, the king's house. V'af Sha'aguv oime b'shikutzoi b'siyuvoi. And even though the goof stays in its lowly state, yeah, kamo shekasu b'zoya denikra mishcha dechivya, it's called the skin of the snake. So don't think that you at this point we were dealing with this very kind of divided person. It looks very divided. Like this is why I'm not so bothered about tithers. Yeah, like I'm not, you need to get on top of your tithers. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, you need to not eat like a behemoth. You definitely shouldn't be looking at anything inappropriate on the computer. That's for sure not. Yeah, that everything undoes from that. Pornography, everything, it undoes everything. So make sure that that's not the case. But eating too much, being with your wife too much, um, um, whatever, having, pampering yourself. Yeah, that's not such a big deal. That's not like you can still be very online and eat too much on Shabbos. That's not a steerer. It's really not a steerer because you got a goof and you got a neshama. And the goof, we're trying to refine the goof, but don't think that the goof has got its own addictions and its own things, and it can kind of this is what he's saying here. So we can still actually be very lishma and at the same time not have a perfect A score on the tivers. So this is what he's saying here. So don't get me wrong. He says that don't I understand the goof has not been refined. The goof is still sitting there, shikutza v'tiyuvoi in its filth. That's a bizarre. The Negro Mishcha de Chivya. Yeah, it's called the skin of the snake. Ki mahuzvat zmusa sho nefesh habahamis, because the mahus and the atzmus. I just learned this week what the difference between those two words are. I'm not. I really should explain that, but I want to finish the chapter. Maybe we get to the end of the chapter, I'll try and explain it. Okay, the essence of the soul, so nefesh Bahamis loy nepech latoiv lekalam kedusha. It hasn't been converted into kedusha. Yeah, so what's the difference between somebody who's into Kugel and somebody who's into singing, like who's into meditation, but for the selfish experience? Like people taking ketamine now and all kinds of funky drugs, yeah, they have these very deep spiritual experiences where they feel one with all of reality and basking in the light of the divine love and touching the fabric of the essence of all of creation, etc., yeah, becoming merged with the weave of reality, yeah. What's the difference between that and enjoying some Kugel, like Lamaisa? It's
I want to say there's a difference, but I hope there's some sort of perhaps difference. But Bastama, based on what we're learning, the difference really is that the singing and the drugs is much worse because you could think you're doing mitzvahs.
Although that's a different bechina, but the actual one, you're right. Yeah, I agree with you. But just the idea of look, you're into Kugel and you're into feeling at one
What
with reality.
one time I complained to my Rav that it's like he brought in a Litvish speaker, Shalashudas or something, and it's just loved this. I'm like, how can you do that, Shalashudas? And he said, you're a Baal Taiva. He said, you like Ruchnis Dika Torah and you like singing, but Torah is Torah. He said, stop being such a Baal Taiva. When Hashem gives you it, great. But when he doesn't, don't be a Baal Taiva. You have to learn to appreciate all Torah.
Yeah. Um, yeah. So look again, when you have become holy, when you see another yid and you're just thinking, how can I add value to your life? How can I help you? That's called holy. Everything else is everything else is efsha. Everything else could be good, could be bad, depends. Eating kugel on Shabbos is very good. Yeah. Eating kugel before davening on on Yom Hamishi is not very good. Yeah. Having deep Ruchnic experiences on Yom Kippur is great. Yeah, having a deep Ruchnius experience when your wife is feeling ill and two kids are home from school and you're you're doing your 3 hour Hallel. Yeah, that's not so great. It's all just, it's just let go of all just let go of all the graphics. Just let go of the whole thing and just look at it for what it really is. Look at everything for what it really is. It's so liberating. Oh, it's so liberating. Anyway, so the nefesh is still in its own selfish state. Yeah, mikol makom tikun nafshoy be'einav. It's mikol makom. Let the nefesh become more precious in your eyes. Yeah, tikun nafshoy means that you should basically realize that your sense of self, yeah, which is the nefesh Bahamis, is not the ikka. Once you can do that, that is it. That's really the whole game, what we just said there, is realizing that your sense of independent self is not that important and maybe even not important at all. That's what he's saying. Tika nafshoy ba'einav lismach b'simchoso yoyse me'aguf. Be be besimcha in the avoida, in serving the Rebbeinu Shalom, hanavaza, the dirty goof, the disgusting goof. Sheloi le'arbev le'balbel simchas hanefesh ba'atzavoin goof. That it shouldn't that the depression of the goof, the heaviness of the goof, should not disturb the simcha of the nefesh hakis. V'nei b'chinas zuhi b'chinas yitzias mitzrayim. This is called yitzias mitzrayim. Shnei emar. Ki bocha the fled. The L'choyu hu tamur, that's amazing. Why? Lama is why do it have to be like this? V'ki'ilu lefaro l'shalchem chofshi le'olam lo yehoya muchlach l'shalchem. That if Hashem said the power has to send them off, what they have to send him off. Why is it that we have to flee? Yeah, just walk out there, calm, easy. Shem said he's going to take care of it. Yeah. Element Nesha Harasha ben Nefashis Yisrael Adinahai B'Takvoy B'Chala Smoli. That at this time the Ra of the Nefesh of the Yisrael, the Nefesh Bahamas of Yisrael, it was still in its primal strength in the left side of the heart. Kilo Pasca Zumasum Ad Matan Toya, because the Zuhama of the snake, yeah, the deep sense of self did not go from us until Matan Torah. Rak magmasam v'chevtzam ha'isel etzeis nafsham elokis megalus asitra achra hitumas mitzrayim uledab kaboy yizbarach. Meaning we had this sense of we were in a kind of schizophrenic situation here. We had a deep sense of self, but we wanted to get out of it. That's a very important thing to understand. Not like like what's possible, the idea of searching for enlightenment. It just becomes another taiva. You're searching for, you're searching for a new car, and I'm searching to become a yogi. It's what's the difference? It's the same thing. Yeah, that's not what we're not talking about that. We're talking about the actual yearning. This is called tshuva. That's called tshuva. The yearning of the yid to go back to the Ribono Shel Olam, to let go of all of this shtuyot. He knows he's stuck in the shtuyot. He knows that he's addicted to all of this crazy stuff, and he just wants out. He just he just wants to go back to the Ribono Shel Olam. He just wants to he just wants to realign with reality. And to be the double to Hashem. Because Hashem oizi meuzi. Menusi b'yom tzara, and it's like a fortress. Hashem is my power, my fortress, my refuge on the day of my tsar. Yeah, that's Bein Hametzarim. Remember, Bein Hametzarim is the when you let go of Oineg, the ultimate tsar, the ultimate constriction that we have on us is our need for Oineg from the Nefesh Bahamis. So we let go of that. That's tsar. The ultimate symptom that we have is the fact that we have that our Nefesh Bahamis is into pleasure. Misgai Menoisi brings a bunch of the who manusli is about fleeing, running, getting away. Ulechein la'asid. Therefore, in the future, Kashiyave Hashem ruach atuma min haaretz, when Hashem gets rid of this this feeling of independence, this feeling again. This is the word to remember. Yeah, this feeling of aloneness. That's klipa. Klipa is feeling alone. So when Hashem removes that feeling of aloneness, that's called Kishiave Hashem Ruach Atuma Min Haaretz. Kasiv. V'nus loi tichloin ki choylech lefneichem Hashem. V'nus loi tichloin. I'm not sure how the translation of that. To walk before Hashem, to flee from I think it's to flee from the destruction so that you can walk before Hashem. Yosbechin is tshuva zu b'yesa says b'yesa ois. Yeah, that there can be a deeper tshuva, mi'umka deliba, from the depths of the heart. Remember, when we talk about the essence of the soul, we talk about two things. It's the same thing. We talk about the highest point and the deepest point. Kesa and Umka Deliba. So that's where this is coming from. Deliba. V'gam simchas nefesh tia b'toisefes oire v'simcha ka'ashe yoshi ve'oliboy das usvuna lenachmoi ma'atzvoinoi v'yigoinoi leimor hein emes. Now this is the line. This is where I learned this with Rav Manis, and this line should be underlined and highlighted, and this is the whole thing. Yeah, when you wanna know the key to the whole thing, This line. Ach ani loy asisies atzmi. I'm stuck in the porn. I'm stuck in the eating. I'm stuck in being a miserable, impatient, old, horrible man to my wife and my kids. I'm stuck in working too hard and not spending enough time in shul. I'm stuck in this. I'm stuck in that. I'm stuck in all the things that we're stuck in, yeah? Ach, ani loy asisi es atzmi. I didn't make myself. And Rabbi Shalom, if you put the button in front of me, the blue and the red button, bang, I wouldn't even wait. Wouldn't even hear the other option. You want reality or too late? So I said, there was that guy was it in Lakewood? A guy won $10 million on the lotto. You saw that? He won on a scratch card. A from Jew won $10 million, and he had the option of $10 million up front, or you get $10,000 a week for the rest of your life. So I enjoyed thinking about that a little bit, and I said first the $10,000, and I realized that if you really, $10 million, you just stick it away, you probably get $10,000 a week on in whatever. And anyway, so then I came back and I said to who did I said it to? I said to my son, I said, listen, you got three options. 10 million. We talked about it a little bit, and we would, it's a good thing to talk to your 19-year-old son about. I said three options: $10 million, yeah, $15,000 a week, or perfect self-control. Shlitas Atzmi. What's the question? So that's what he says. Ach ani loy asisi Atzmi, which means this is my job description. The fact that I'm stuck in X and Y and Z, that's what I'm here to fix. So it's not like I should get down on myself when I'm doing it. I should be strategizing about how to rip myself out of it. But remember, the minute you get down on yourself, yeah, that's it. It's game over. When you're down on yourself, all the tivers come and just sweep you away like a mubble. There's no way out when you're down on yourself.
Always talking about channeling it. That's what this
That's
is.
exactly the whole point. And this is the key line is Ach ani loy asisies atzmi. I didn't make
Well,
myself.
it's not my fault. Explain that in another term.
Meaning not it's not my fault. I didn't make myself, meaning that I'm just this is what I'm here to fix. This is what I'm here to fix. This is a deep tshuva moment for the Benoni. He's stuck in his selfishness, but he wants to just go back. That's what he's saying. So this is it. This is the key. Is I didn't make myself. So now that gets us out of the. That's like now I can that a smile can crack along your face now. You can smile a little bit. I didn't make myself, meaning I'm here to fix this. If I did
Sure.
make myself, I wouldn't be like this.
The thing with the lottery example is that a lot of people who win the lottery, things go crazy because they get it all in one shot.
Sure.
But the same thing with this self mastery or the self control, it needs, like you're saying, it needs a fixing. It needs to be worked on. You can't just grant it to somebody.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a joke. I'm just talking a joke. Like this is what the blessed life is. Start with a little promise, and build from there. Self mastery is not a. There's no silver bullet to self mastery that I know of. If there is, I'd take it immediately, and I'd be teaching it as well. There's no. I would rather it not take so long and be so much work. Much rather it, but I just don't have any other. Everyone else who says that I've seen, like I don't see that it works. V'lama asa Hashem kazois. Now, why was it that Hashem did this? I have this underlined. Lahorid chelek mo'oro yizbrach hamamale v'soivev kwalmin v'kulek kamei koloi choshiv. He brought down a chelik of his ore. Yeah, this is Mamash Hanukkah. He brought it down that came from a Male Kwalmin, Soiviv Kwalmin, and the highest level of nothing. It's the whole world is not. And he enclosed it in the skin of the snake, Vatipa Sruchin, in a revolting little drop. Yeah, Ein Zeh Ki im Yerida Zuhid Tzorech Aliyah. This is a Yerida L'Tzorech Aliyah. He brought this piece of perfection down into this world. Yeah, why? That is our job description, to bring up the Nefesh of Bahamis, to bring it back to Rabbeinu Shloim, not to deny it, not to forget it, not to kill it, but to actually bring it back to Hashem. The Kol Levusheh and all of its Levushim, which is for sure in our control. Heim Bechinas Machshava Dibor Ma'aseh Shalah. Al Yidei Hislabshusam B'Maisa Dibo Machshava Torah. That's how we do it. Is you get your thought, speech, and action connected to Torah. And as a fringe benefit to learning a lot of Hasidus, is your mind. You just become really like you just think about Torah the whole time. If you start like really getting the big picture of Hasidus, yeah, and the big picture of which is really the big picture of Yiddishkeit, then you're thinking Torah the whole time, and that's a segula for speaking Torah and for doing Torah. It's like that's just a kind of fringe benefit.
Thought, speech, and action because they involve the Nefesh HaBahamis?
No,
the
no.
interface
Well,
between Nefesh HaBahamis and Nefesh Elokis?
no. He's just saying here that's how you raise it up. How do you raise up the Nefesh Bahamis? You get it to think Torah, you get it to speak Torah, and you get it to do Torah.
I'm saying, but the levush, those are levushim of the Nefesh Elokis, but they are enclosed in Nefesh HaBahamis. That's how you do behavior.
Yeah. So, yeah. But the actual speaking and the actual cognitive, maybe not thinking, maybe you could argue that maybe Gomorrah thinking is with the Nefesh Bahamis, because it's more like kind of it's more it's very like coarse. It's not the right word. It's like power. You need power to think in Gomorrah. Yes, I don't know if the Nefesh Elokis can think. I don't know. I'm just thinking from my own. It's a very it's a very physical way of using your mind, learning Gomorrah. You know what I'm talking about? Do you understand what I mean? It's a very physical way of using your mind. It's not like understanding ideas in Hasidus and connecting things in Kabbalah, and it's like a real kind of hard. It's very. I can't think of a word. It's like real, like it's like contact sport in the mind. You know what I'm saying? It's like bang. You know, it's not like mystical and magical. It's like so I don't know if the Nefesh Elokis can do that. I don't know. Maybe it can.
I don't know if the Nefesh Elokis can do anything without the Nefesh HaBahamis, meaning the Nefesh Elokis is the koyach of Seichel, but it's meluvish in the osis of Nefesh HaBahamis, no?
No, it has its own levushim. It definitely can't be poil the goof. It definitely can't move the goof like this, and it can't move the lips as well. But that's what I said. By machshava, I don't know. You have to ask somebody who knows more than me. I'm sure Rav Manis or Rav Shais Taub would have a good answer to that question. The question will come in Halah Zuba Arichas. We're going to talk about that later in Lamed Hey, Lamed Vav, Lamed Zayin. Eichi Tachlis Brias Ha'olam. How this is the point of the world. The point of the world is to strategize to pull yourself out of your porn addiction. The point of the world is to strategize how to pull yourself out of your eating addiction. V'chule v'chule. That is the point of the world. It's not to be out of it. It's to strategize to get yourself out of it. That's it. That's so geschmack to know that. That is so geschmack to know that. If this is the case, I'm going to put all of my desires and energies, all the days of my birth, all the days of my life, to be koilel, like nichlal, into them, all of my life, everything about me. Elecha Hashem nafshi esa, to you Hashem I will raise up my. So dahainu lekashe machshavoisai v'diburai b'machshavaso v'diburav yizbrach, to be makashe my machshava and my speech with his machshava and his speech, which means thinking and talking Torah. Yizbrach. That's talking about the halachas that are in front of us. And then my maisa should be aligned with his maisa. Meshiva's Nefesh. That's Nefesh. That's why it's called Meshiva's Nefesh. It returns the soul. It returns the soul to Hashem. That's how you bring the soul back to Hashem. The world is not about sitting here and having spiritual experiences. You know, the world is like I was thinking by Hanukkah, yeah. I this year I was a little more prepared and I must have spent an hour cleaning my menorah. Oh, schwitzing, mama, schwitzing. And I'm thinking, like, I always feel bad because everyone tells me, all I think about is the Rebbes used to sit there for like 24 hours without blinking, looking at the menorah. And me, I'm like bored after like, give me 2 minutes, yeah, and I'm like ready to eat a donut. And and okay, that's where I'm holding. That's my goof. But I can mama scrub my menorah and drip schwitz on my on my menorah, mamash. And that's mamash gewoldig. That's just me being real with where I am. Sometimes I'm, in the mood for ruchnius, and other times I'm in the mood for donuts. And that's, but this is what it's saying here is it's less about the he's saying the whole thing. We have to bring the whole thing. You have to have the spirituality and you have to have the gashmias as well. And the Makoy B'Shoisha, V'al Zeh Ne'emar B'Kudei Hashem Yisharim Mesamchei Leiv. And this is the simcha because it's through Torah that you are able to be male the goof to the Boy Shalom. If it wasn't for the Torah, there would be no way of bringing yourself to Hashem. That is Simchas Torah. The Simcha of the Torah is Hashem, you gave us something to do in this world. That's it. We've got what to do here. This is our job. Our job is not just to make sure that this world functions. That's the job of the Umois Olam. That's why they're called the Umois Olam. Yeah, we're called the Am Kadosh. Yeah, we're the ones who take that oilam back to its creator. So you've got kind of three parts. You've got creation, you've got creator, and then you have Am Yisrael and the Torah Kedosha. That's called Kudsha Baruch Hu Shchintei. As we said, Kudsha Baruch Hu is the lowest place on Elokus. That's called Torah. And Shchintei is the highest place in creation. That's called Knesset Yisrael. When Knesset Yisrael do Torah and mitzvahs, they bring the whole world up to they connect the whole thing. The whole world goes up to Hashem. You could call that Dira V'Tachtoinim, or you could call that bringing the world up to Hashem. It's the same thing. You bring Hashem down to the world. You bring the world up to Hashem. From it depends how tall you are. If you're short, you look at it going up. If you're tall, you look at it going down. Depends. Okay, we're now up to Perek Lamed Beis. That is a very famous chapter in Tanya. Shkoyach, everyone.
So, two questions. What changed after Matan Torah? Because Lamai said there was a Chata Egel. Did we go back to the level of wanting to go back to Mitzrayim? Of
No.
identification? He said at Matan Torah we disconnected from Mitzrayim.
Gabriel, that's always the problem. The problem's not sex. The problem's not drugs. The problem's not rock and roll. The problem is identifying with yourself as an independent reality. That's it.
I'm asking,
So
it went away at Matan Torah, but then it came back. So what was achieved?
That's what happened by Chet Egel, that we went back down, and that's now the avoider to that was all part of the plan. All part of the plan, the way I understand it. Your second question?
No, is there a good time to do a Chazara, kind of a overview of maybe now or Perek Lamed Daled? Like we've been very very nitty gritty, and a few parakim that just dragged on and on just to kind of get the big picture of where we're at.
I'll tell you, if you want to do that, it's a good right now is a good time to do that, just before Perek Lamed, or maybe just after Perek Lamed Beis. Maybe we should maybe we should take a few weeks out and do the Tour de Tanya again, like a refined version of Tour de Tanya. People are interested in that, where you can maybe like put it out there if people want to do that. I'm happy to do that. Do a 10
Definitely.
week.
What would that look like? Just so if I would help
It's a 10, we did the course one. We did it. It's a 10-week course. Well, maybe I did it before I met, before I was with the
Yeah,
LA.
that was my doing. I
I think
asked you to do that.
Oh wow, yeah,
It was
that was
before you
before
met the LA guys. It was a
yeah,
long time ago.
that was before you guys.
It was
It's
like
basically I
COVID.
created this course. I killed myself. I did it for 10 weeks, and every week I spent the whole week just preparing. It's literally the whole Tanya in 10 weeks. I mean, but I think I could do it a lot more. I think I could do it more peacefully now, actually, to be honest. It could be more, it
I
could
think
be
you could do it in less than just a few shirim. Just break it down into chunks, not every parak, but like the first 10 parakim or the first 15 parakim,
okay.
and then
I think let's finish Perek Lama Bays, and we'll do that next week. And then, I received the request as well to Shem.
shkoya.
Yeah.
Freilich and
Okay.
Hanukkah.
Freilich and Hanukkah to everyone. Yitzi.